Welcome back to the Valor Flight Crew podcast, hosted by Echo and brought to you by Vertical Helicast and Vertical Valor magazine. In this episode, the rotors are turning, the banter is strong, and the stories remind us why this mission matters. Today we're joined by Aaron Hamm, a seasoned helicopter pilot with a truly unique aviation journey. Aaron has experienced this profession from both sides of the stretcher and the cockpit, and his story is one of resilience, grit, and purpose. We dive into his experiences in flight instruction, crew resource management, and HEMS, and the realities of operating in high-pressure situations, balanced with the humor and camaraderie that keep crews grounded. Aaron shares how a life-changing accident reshaped his perspective on aviation, medicine, and teamwork, and how determination and community helped him beat the odds and follow his dream to flight. It's an honest, uplifting conversation about dedication, following your dreams no matter what life throws at you, and never losing sight of the impact we have on the patients and teammates we serve. So strap in and enjoy the ride on this episode of the Valor Flight Crew podcast. Thank you to our sponsors, Airbus, Metro Aviation, and Precision Aviation Group.
Welcome to the Valor Flight Crew podcast, brought to you by Vertical Helicasts and Vertical Valor magazine. Produced in partnership with Echo, Every Coast Helicopter Operations, the Valor Flight Crew podcast promotes the personnel and life-saving equipment behind helicopter air ambulance services. Join hosts Mike Fideli and Blake Schreider for in-depth interviews and expert insights from air medical personnel, pilots, communication specialists, and maintenance crews who play critical roles in airborne emergency response.
Line 1 accepting.
Copy, line 1, gotcha, accepting. You're going to be talking to Red Feather 1 on LCEMS.
Welcome back to the Valor Flight Crew podcast. As always, Mike Fideli and Blake Schreider. How are you today, Blake?
Doing amazing.
You are probably doing amazing since it's still nice and warm down there in Florida. I'm sitting up here freezing.
Just air conditioner guy here is just finishing up making sure the air conditioner is good.
Be tough in December to have the air conditioning person at your house. It's horrible.
Hey man, gotta keep it going
so badly for you.
Listen, man, us Florida men, we need AC all year round.
I have no doubt.
We can survive many things without AC. I think that's our kryptonite.
Well, good luck when you get to Montana next week. Have to deal with the cold weather.
I'm ready.
Can't wait to hear the complaining at that point. Oh man, we got a great podcast for you guys today. We're really looking forward to having this conversation. Today we get to speak with Aaron Hamm. And Aaron is a pilot in Kentucky and has a very unique story of how he got to where he's at. And I'm certainly looking forward to kind of diving into this with Aaron and kind of talking about his experiences along the way, because I think it's one that you don't, we all have our stories as to why we get into helicopter EMS and helicopter air ambulance stuff. And it's, I think sometimes we kind of forget about the why behind it as we get a little bit further into this career. And so I'm really looking forward to discussing with Aaron his why and why he's currently working for the base he's at and his unique story along the way. So without further ado, Aaron, welcome to the podcast. How are you today?
Good, man. I appreciate y'all for having me on the podcast. And I've actually watched it a couple times, which is cool that I was like, oh my God.
Yes.
I know these people.
You're one of our 5 listeners.
Wow. Did you watch it on YouTube or just listen to it?
No, the YouTube, the algorithms of the YouTube brought me to this place, which was,
awesome.
Cool. You know, Big Brother has my number when it comes to YouTube. The algorithms just I'm a millennial, so I didn't really get into TikTok, but YouTube, it's got me. And I have so many different hobbies, and it will just for hours if I need to,
steer you in the right direction.
Even when I don't need to, it's still,
my YouTube algorithm, like I'm the same way. I think I'm technically a millennial by birth date. Don't identify as a millennial at all. No offense. I have watched our podcast.
Yeah.
Don't see it in my algorithm. I don't see it. I don't know why.
They're trying to tell you something, Blake.
Yeah. They're like, don't look at yourself.
Well, I am what they call an exennial, where I am right before I'm 42 this year. I'll be 43. And
Me too.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
So yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So it's like, I don't fully identify with millennialism because, you and I, we came from before they had cell phones and internet and all that stuff. I remember I was
stuff.
in, yeah, this stuff. I was in, I think it was grade school when we were in typing class and we were using typewriters. And in the middle of we came in
Hang
one
on,
day.
Mike's going to resonate with this real quick.
Yeah. He goes, I'm before there was powered. He's like, I used to use the ones before there was powered one. We used to have strong fingers. But I remember coming back in for the next class and they had computers, and it was the first time we used computers for it.
Yep.
And I thought it was pretty.
And you
cool.
had that mammoth like floppy disk,
dude.
And the big.
I had to show
the
that
big
to someone the
monitors,
other day.
the
Yeah,
deep
absolutely.
monitors. Yeah.
Nobody believed me. My 23-year-old friend was like, "Dude, what is that?"
Well, here, let me get this. Put this floppy disk in here.
Need two hands just to carry it over the computer.
Yeah, exactly.
Well, it's funny you mentioned typewriter in the last episode that we just recorded. I was calling myself out on how resistant I am to a lot of technology and advancements, and so the joke ended up coming up that I'm sitting here with my typewriter typing up the outlines for all of these podcasts. So yeah, mentioned it 2 episodes in a row now. It must be true. Gonna have to break that back out of the closet and start using it again.
Yeah, and when it comes to aviation stuff too, I came from the era of having, before we had flight computers, before we had calculators. You know what I mean? You know,
You had a map, calipers, and
a chart.
Charts.
It's aviation,
and a prayer.
way better than these land people. Charts.
Oh man. Well,
This is awesome. Thanks for
obviously,
coming on.
as you guys can all tell from the first 4 minutes of this episode, this is going to be a great show for you today. And we're really looking forward to having a conversation with Aaron. Aaron, if you don't mind, just give us a little bit of background on yourself, a little bit about your flight experience, and kind of how you got to where you're at now.
All right, aviation background wise, my first intro flight was in Illinois in 2007, July of 2007. I knew immediately that I was like, yeah, this is what I want to do. And we went to a flight school out in Salt Lake City, Utah, started flying in, I think 2009 is when we finally got started, and been flying ever since. Of course, did the R-22s, the R-44s, had a chance to be an instructor there. Also in Las Vegas, I flew 2244 Schweitzers there, then got picked up out in New York City flying a 206 and then a 407. From there, went back to Vegas, flew EC-130s, both in Vegas and out in Hawaii for a while. I've also been a crop duster, flew 44 and 66s doing that. And I'm not, different. I'll crop dust anywhere, if you know what I mean. But
copy that.
Yeah,
thank God we're recording this remotely
for the same reason.
Yeah. You know what I mean? Speaking about call signs, you know what I mean? And now I'm here in Somerset, Kentucky, flying EC-130s as well, B4 and T2s. And who knows from there?
That's awesome.
So that's my aviation background with the aircraft that I've flown. But again, instruction, I've been a civilian instructor. I was a transition instructor in New York for a little bit, teaching military guys how to fly in civilian world. The crop dusting stuff was an incredible experience, both wonderful and absolutely terrible. And
we'll blame it on the chemicals as to why you are the way you are.
Yeah, but I was this way before the chemicals. You know what I mean?
Finally found something that fits.
Yeah. Well, the thing is as you guys know, in the Hamm's world, the personalities, like, you just know.
Oh yeah.
You just know. And you're like, how did you become that person that fits so well in this group and in this work? This is how. You know what I mean? Like it's
you
just
have
one of
to
those.
be this way though in order to like survive in this field, I think sometimes.
100%.
You know?
Yeah. In a lot of ways. And I'm appreciative for it. You have to be able to blow off steam some way.
Yeah.
And people, if you guys talked about some of your other podcasts, just some people will be like, what did you just say? Be like, look, I forgot I'm home. I forgot I'm not at work. Like, my wife will be like, I am not one of your med crews. And I'm like, okay, that's right. Sorry about that. So,
yeah, I'm sure you get scolded on a regular basis for stuff like that.
Yeah. But I've really loved my aviation career. I think for me, I think my pinnacle for both my personality and my love for aviation was probably I loved flying, doing tours in Hawaii, and then I got to do a bunch of filming. Coming from a film background that I have, being able to get with people who influencers and podcasters and both film crews and stuff like that, knowing the lingo and kind of the shots they're trying to get, and being able to combine that with safely getting there was pretty cool. So, and then my last name's Hamm. I can't help but ham it up, and so I love ecology and history, and the combination of my backgrounds and my passions all kind of culminated to flying there. Showing people beautiful things, and my love of music. Oh man, I had a curated playlist that would evoke emotions like you have no idea. I loved it. There were places my goal was to make you laugh, to make you cry. Mostly you're going to cry at my terrible jokes, but one way or another, you're going to cry. And I really enjoyed flying out there. The diversity of topography and the weather and the whales and the waterfalls, a lot of W's out there.
Yeah.
And especially winning. We did a lot of that out there too. And yeah, it was pretty cool. I really enjoyed that. So yeah, that's kind of my background with that. And now I've been working at this base and for Air Methods now for over 3 years now. So
nice. That's awesome. Yeah, obviously quite the, experience across the literally across the country for all of your flight experience. It's impressive to hear the experiences you've had along the way. And I think, when we talk about a lot of our flight paths for a lot of our pilots, it seems to be that, you've got to get your hours somehow. And so unless you're doing military and you did the total civilian route, you really have to be creative sometimes and go where the jobs are and where someone's willing to give you a shot. And it sounds like you've had quite the journey to get there, but obviously one that's brought you to a very cool place right now.
Yeah. Any pilot, and you as well, coming from the med crew side, the amount of time, energy, beg, borrowing, and stealing, studying to be able to get to this point, going from I will take any and every flight. You want me to start up the helicopter? Like you want me to touch? I can pre-flight again. I've already pre-flighted twice. Going to like, I'd really like not to fly today if possible. It's so crazy to be on that side. And any helicopter pilot will say the same thing. And they have had to go through it to get here. And I have nothing but respect for everyone who's gone through that process. Even people who have gone through the process and said it's not for me anymore. It's a real deal. And same with the med crew. The more I spend with them, the more respect I have from them as well. My father was in medicine. He was a ERPA, so physician's assistant, ER stuff his entire life. And so growing up with that and being in that all the time, it gave me appreciation for it. But then now being on this side of it, on the first responder side of it, has been, or I don't know, first responder. It's like first and a half responder time. You know what I mean?
Yeah, usually somebody else is getting there a little bit
somebody
before
got there and found it. Yeah.
Yeah. If we're first responders on the scene, we've done something wrong, or someone has. You know what I mean? They done messed up. Now there are some. We do have kind of not first responder. Yeah, first responders with our teams out here, like in Arizona and I think Colorado or California, that do have extra training and can be the first ones on scene if need to be. But most of the time we're going to have LZ set up for us and whatnot. Yeah. And, it doesn't take all the challenging aspect out of it, but it does bring the safety up quite a bit, We
don't get to hear very often from our pilot friends on how you got to this point. I mean, we did a podcast earlier in the year from like a pilot's perspective. And, one of the goals that we've always tried to do on this podcast was really just be open, transparent, and hear from all aspects of how this job works. But I don't think we've really dived into one, for many of our pilot friends, how you got into this world. And traditionally we've spoken to a lot of guys and gals that are, well, I just decided I'd join the military and I got into flight school. And then that's really kind of how it ended up. And we don't really get to hear much on the civilian training on your way up. And it was really interesting to hear you talk about the beg, borrow, steal,
Mm-hmm.
and how expensive and second, third mortgage selling organs. I don't know,
Yeah.
whatever it is to pay for.
I have one kidney. That's not true. That's not true. I have both of them.
It's all about who you know, though. I mean, and you really
Right,
have to be willing to put yourself out there in the industry in order to be able to make it in the civilian side of things, because it's a long road to get there.
Thank you to our sponsor, Metro Aviation. Metro Aviation, the world's largest family-owned aeromedical operator, offers comprehensive aircraft services with 140 plus aircraft in over 25 states. The Completion Center installs medical and law enforcement kits and avionics, serving diverse aviation needs including offshore, utility, VIP, and corporate sectors.
The training aspect of it alone, and the thing was, I'm not the I'm not a fart smeller, you know what I mean, or smart feller, and so, you know, I grew up with, you know, some dyslexia problems and some read problems, and I'm just not a great studier, but I really fell in love with the aviation side of it because it finally was. It allowed you to do what you wanted to do. Sometimes you go to college and you got to do 13th grade, 14th grade to be able to get to the stuff that you want to study.
Yeah.
And with the aviation stuff, it was great because I would read about it, I'd study about it, and then I get to apply it right away.
Yeah,
you know,
no doubt.
and I tried the college route for a little bit, but again, it was just like, why am I doing this English? I can't use my phonetic alphabet in the English class. They got doxed me for that. So, you know, why? There were some. I went to Salt Lake Community College for a little while they had a 141 program that went through there. And they did have some specific stuff. Some of your sciences could be like, I did a full semester on weather, which was awesome because whether or not you want to, it's going to affect you when you fly.
Yep.
And I got a lot of those coming. Don't you worry. And but you know, it was cool being able to literally read about it and then apply it. And that's something that helps. I always say you got to see it, taste it, touch it, do it, and teach it before you really understand it. And one of my things I wish they would have taught early on in that, when you go to CFI, become a certified flight instructor, you go through what are called the fundamentals of instruction. And you learn how to teach, but when you're doing that, you also learn a little bit about learning. And I wish you had some of that at the beginning of your career, your education career, because discovering how I learned best really affected then the methods I went to both teach and learn for myself.
Yeah.
And going through the 4 levels of learning, right? Rote, understanding, application, and correlation. And then how you move from the unknown to the known. And it's so cool. And I do miss instruction a little bit because helping people have those aha moments where they're like, oh my God, I finally get that. I've been trying to figure that out. And like, why didn't they say it like that from the beginning? And then having people like walk away with that knowledge and being able to hold on to it and not only apply it, but being able to apply it to their day-to-day operation and makes it safer all the way around. So yeah. I do enjoy that aspect of aviation. So
adult learning can be difficult. And then how to instruct a grown human being set in ways, you know, and trying to identify, like you said, how your learning process is very different from the person sitting right next to you, and you're expected to instruct that person and have them understand, comprehend, and put into action those fundamentals of what you're trying to teach them. Not easy.
And I now understand why my mom was so angry with me at times. Just like, you know, I'd give an answer. She would just turn like, are you for real right now with that? What?
So you're saying she's
and I'd be like, Mom, I just don't get it. I just don't get it. She put in her work, let me tell you. But yeah, I mean, through all of that, you know, really learning how to communicate what's in your head and what they're trying to learn into something that's comprehensible. It was really cool. And I really enjoyed that aspect of the instruction. The part where they try and kill you every single part of that flight, that part I didn't really love. Think about this. You're a low-hour pilot teaching a no-hour pilot how to do the most dangerous maneuvers in the most dangerous helicopter out there.
What could go wrong? What could go wrong?
What could go wrong? Now, honestly speaking, flight instructors who just got done going through that process are probably the most they're perfectly in place to be able to do that. You know what I mean?
Sure.
If you put me back in R-22 again, I could probably fly it, but not the skill level that I had when I was doing that every single day. And their knowledge base is also the things that I don't know that I know now, but I know because it's now a part of who I am.
Right.
But the book knowledge portions of it, again, they've just got done going through it. So they're really
studying
prepared.
it, doing it every day,
living
it.
Yeah.
Stressing about the test that's coming up.
Well, stress, not even about the test anymore. It's about sending their student out for a solo flight,
Right.
where their endorsement, it goes in. If that student screws up, it comes back on them.
Yes.
Right. And so you're just the entire time and oh gosh, I got stories where you always have you'll get out and you'll be like, all right, buddy. All right, my little man, it's your turn. You're going solo. And they'll be like, oh my God, I'm going solo. And then you'll get out and you buckle in the seatbelt and you're like, okay, here you go. And then you listen to your handheld radio as they take off and they immediately botch the radio call. Oh. And
it's that's something that you should have been able to do how many weeks and weeks ago.
We worked on that. But I always called it that the trigger button, the click to disconnect button.
Yep.
And I remember myself going through flight school and it would be like this. You go like this, you go, all right, I'm going to talk now. And you go,
you completely forget everything you're about to say.
No. And so I get it. Again, what every pilot has had to go through to be able to get here. I mean, the same for you guys. I mean, your field, right? Both, paramedic and nursing, you understand.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
There's respect.
Yeah. And I think, we have a lot of the same, well, obviously working in aviation, we have a lot of the same issues, if you will, as far as when you're starting to get, you think you're competent, you think you're making progress. And then it's that one little thing, just clicking that button and it completely sends you off the wrong tangent, trying to call med report to a hospital. And I'm like, I'll never forget those ones I botched up. I'll never remember the ones that went perfect, but I will always remember those ones that I botched up along the way. And it's as soon as you click that button, you forget everything that just happened.
Oh, it hurts so bad too. Oh God.
It's a learning
word
curve,
vomit.
It's a
that
learning
just
curve.
Comes out at that point. Just, ugh.
Yes.
And then they're like, hey, we recorded this for you. You should hear how dumb you sounded when you tried to give report.
It's so fun when we have new nurses. Like if we were precepting and we have a new nurse or new paramedic and we're like, okay, it's your turn to do it. And it's again, you go back to that whole on flight instructor. We're just like, oh, that's so bad. That's so bad. And you're trying to hey, remember they want blood sugar and don't forget GCS. They always want GCS. You know what I mean? And then they just screw it up. And
I love it when the pilots just throw out those medical terms.
Yeah.
But I just want to point out that the pilot even knows that when the med crew's giving report, you could give the best report ever. Patient's intubated. We did all this amazing stuff. And then you hear, what was the blood sugar?
Yeah, is there blood sugar at GCS?
Oh, no, that's the one thing. Go.
I've had that happen sometimes where my partner is a relatively new partner or somebody was on orientation and they just finished giving a report and they forgot, it was blood sugar or the GCS. And here from up front, I recognize the pilot's voice saying, oh, what's the blood sugar? What's the GCS? And they keyed up again on the radio and made some comment, to answer that question. And we all just start howling in the back of the aircraft because it wasn't coming from med control. It was coming from the pilot up front.
That's awesome.
I mean, it's part about being this part of the teamwork aspect of this job that I absolutely love. That's something, that coming from my background has always been single pilot, where it's just me and the people that I'm flying. There may have been a pilot on board, and they'll always know if there's a pilot on board because he'll tell you. You know what I mean? My thing is the question I have for the audience as well. Maybe you guys could comment down below. Make sure you guys subscribe and hit the like button as well. But here's a question: if you're a pilot and you do CrossFit, which one do you talk about first?
Oh
man, that's a tough one. I mean,
I can't figure it out.
Well, don't you do both? I mean, so which one do you talk about first?
Obviously they know I'm a pilot.
Yeah. Can you do CrossFit while flying?
I mean, the CrossFit stickers on the helmet.
Yeah. Oh, that's it.
Yes.
That's it. The CrossFit. That's it. Your local CrossFit gym is on there. You know what I mean?
I can only imagine what it's like flying with you.
It's
got to be an experience.
Here's the thing. As we all do, we have on and off buttons.
Yeah.
And and in this industry, you need to be able to turn it on, and you need to know when it's time to be serious and or quiet. I mean, we're always serious about it. Seriously funny is still serious. But when you guys are in the back doing your work, my job is to support you by getting you there, by taking care of you guys so that you can focus on the patient care. That's our job, right? Our job is to safely and effectively transport patients from an area, whether it be a hospital or a scene, to a place that can facilitate more stuff with it. And so, there are times where I just do my thing and you guys are in the back doing some crazy stuff back there. And the thing is the longer you fly for it, the more you recognize the urgency of things.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I'm always urgently flying somewhere safely, but there are times where you're just like, boy, I wish I had a little bit more tailwind on this one. You know what I mean? You can hear it in their voice.
Yeah, absolutely.
For the record, we are always hoping for more tailwind when we have the patient on board.
Yeah.
For the record.
Well, it just depends. It depends. Because if you get one of these transfer center patients, right, it's going to be 3 days after they got back from the nursing home, and they need to be taken up someplace for a consultation, and you're like, we want to get them there, but I'd like to get home even faster. There are times when we get some crazy wind out here, right? And there will be times where it's like, hey, it's going to take us 20 minutes to get there, and it's going to take us 50 minutes to get back. No.
It is awful some days.
But again, my background being it's me as just the pilot and not having a crew to facilitate, crew resource management has taken on a whole new meaning for me. And that's probably been one of my favorite aspects about this job is that we are a team.
Yeah, for sure.
And we are in this together. And let me tell you, I got to brag on my base. I had a chance to go, when I first got into this, I went and visited bases all over Tennessee and in Kentucky. And when I came to this base, I was like, yeah, this is where I need to be. And, part of that was, we've kind of touched on this a little bit, was this is a tough job. And one of the toughest aspects of it is you need to go from zero to hero really quick. And one of the reasons it took me so long to get, the longest time I said I probably wouldn't get into EMS, only because I understood the amount of just danger and where I needed to be aviation wise. I'm a phenomenal pilot. Every pilot will tell you that. But it's true coming from me.
There comes that humility word coming out again.
Absolutely.
Yeah. My mom will tell you how good of a pilot I am.
Thanks to our sponsor, Airbus. Airbus provides the most efficient helicopter solutions to its customers who serve, protect, save lives, and safely carry passengers in demanding environments. Its civil and military helicopters are flying all over the world, making missions possible. Visit airbus.com for more information.
Think about this. We work 7 days on, 7 days off. And our base, we do 7 day shifts. We have 7 off, and then we do 7 night shifts, which I kind of like. Allows you to kind of stay locked in. But let's say you have your week off, and then you do your week on is you've had bad weather the entire week. You haven't got a single flight, and now it's your very last night, and the weather's iffy, and you're like, all right, so I probably won't get any flights tonight because we haven't had any calls for a while. And sure enough, 3 a.m., your last night after not flying for 2 weeks, you get a call. And it comes over the radio, of course it wakes you up, stand by for tones. And I don't know why they can't choose nicer ways of toning you out. I wake up fine to my nice alarm clock. that has nice tones. I wake up just fine. Why they got to use a foghorn? You know what I mean? A tractor trailer. I
Just want
literally
to
have
make
had
sure you
dreams.
hear it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I literally had dreams where a truck is coming at me and hitting me, and it's actually the tones going off. It's a true story.
Or just tone me out. You don't have to tell me to stand by for tones. That's
Yeah.
my job.
I know.
I promise
I know.
I'm standing by for tones the entire shift.
Yeah, but and
Just
and
hit
also
the button. Just get
you
it
know,
over with.
do it nicely too. Hey guys, I'm gonna tone you out here in a second. Hey guys, not just like stand by for tones. Anyway, but you get woken up. You're oh my God, you're coming out of that groggy sleep, and then you're looking at the weather right away, and I think it's going to be rising. It's gonna, like the weather's getting a little bit better. I think we could probably go do it. It's a scene flight, and they give you a heading, a distance, and a patient weight, and that patient weight. I know that in the industry they're trying not to give any patient information because they don't
Right.
want you to make decisions about it.
Right.
But it's a
15
45
kilos.
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's
You
the
know
other
exactly.
thing.
Yeah.
Why? No, I don't. I don't know exactly why. I live in America here. I don't do medicine. I don't need kilos. I don't need any of this metric stuff. The only thing metric I do is my woodworking.
Just like to make your life a little bit more difficult at 3 a.m. when you're
Right.
trying to figure out if you can do the flight
Yeah,
or not.
Let's
add in some math for you too.
God, I literally radio back. I go, please put that in American.
Do I multiply that by 2?
Like 2.2. Like, get out of here. And I looked at radio. I'm like, can you please put that in American? And they've got our aircom folks have really done that now. They will give that initial one to me. They'll give it both in kilos and in pounds for me. But it'd be a 45-pound weight pounds, and you'll know kind of what it is. And you're just like, and now I've got to be able to go make that decision. I have to go quickly, look at the weather, use my background with my weather knowledge and my experience. I got to know my crew. I know whom I'm flying with that night, who's got the strengths, who's got the weaknesses. And then we have to go then and execute this. And now you are under NVG in weather that is, it's going to be good enough to go. I'm not going to go if it's not safe.
Right.
But it's going to be stressful. Now you've got LZs, you've got wires, you've got trees, you've got patience, you've got the stresses, and you have to be able to go for it. And there's a certain experience level that you need to have to safely do this. And not to say that you can't grow into that safely. But I put it off for the longest time until I really felt like I was ready.
All right. It's not the pre-designated LZs that you're used to with flying, the tours or some of the other stuff. It's not, everything laid out in perfect VFR weather for you, during the daytime. You've got all of these other factors that go into it. And now you've got to sit there and really put your skills to the test. And when you haven't been doing that every single day for the past few weeks, I'm sure that can get a little bit nerve-wracking for you guys.
Yeah.
But is that also the same thing that kind of drew you to this? Is that something that,
I mean,
and like at what point do you say, you know what, I think I can handle this?
Yeah, for me, again, it was different places I've flown kind of helped me there. I cut my teeth in New York City flying a 206, doing Part 91 tours in this. It felt underpowered at the time aircraft. It's the busiest airspace in the world right there. Yeah. It's the busiest heliport in the world. Yeah. We had 15 slots, and there would be 30 to 40 helicopters trying to land on those 15 slots.
In and out the entire time.
Yeah, in and out. And you would take off and you would go around Governor's Island at, I think we were at 300 feet going out. There would be people holding at 900 feet or 500 feet, 900 feet, and then people over the top. No, it was 3, 5, and 9. We go out 300. People will hold around Governor's Island waiting for a parking spot at 500 feet, and people would be transversing over the top at 900 feet.
Wow. Yeah. It's insane.
It was incredible getting out of like JFK, Newark, LaGuardia, and we had 3 radio changes, and I did love it.
In 2 minutes, you got to make all those changes.
It's got to be an adrenaline rush your entire shift while you're there flying.
Yeah, but then your body is shot afterwards. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah, no
you just
mentally and physically.
Yeah. I mean, cutting my teeth in New York was pretty cool, and then flying in the Grand Canyon, flew for Maverick out there, great company, really good, phenomenal maintenance out there, which is great. Really good training, and they give you just enough leash, training. They give you a ton of training, but then they keep you on a short leash because you have low hour guys really learning the craft with it.
Yeah.
And they were pretty sticklers for being having perfection in your flying, which is great with that.
Yeah.
They really stressed the maintenance was crazy phenomenal. I would get into any aircraft without pre-flying if I had to, which is pretty cool. And they would really just work with you and keep you training so that you can build that skill set, as you gain it. But it was a repetitive, the
Right.
same thing every day,
Mhm.
same gates, same altitude, same stuff like that. And then we'd always want to live in Hawaii. And so when they asked, they were going to open a base on Kauai, and I decided to go out there and help open that base out. And that is just it's so crazy, the flying out there. It is so diverse. The weather diverse. Like the top of Mount Waialeale on Kauai gets over 400 inches of rain per year on top of it, where Waimea, 7 miles away, only gets 20 inches of rain. Wow. 400 to 500 inches of rain to 27 miles away. It's crazy.
That's
I always,
crazy.
have you guys ever seen the movie Hook with, of course you have, with Robin Williams?
Yes, of course.
Okay, good. It's strange. We're getting to that era where these
Yeah.
younger folks.
Yeah, I think we
I've
can
never heard
put
of it.
all of us can be in the
Wait.
same category over
Yeah.
here.
Yeah.
Oh,
Yeah.
I've never heard of that. Like,
Are you kidding me?
anyway,
Who are
but,
you?
yeah. When the Rufio's skateboarding on his little wing surfer down the thing, and it goes through all the seasons, all in that one little strip. That's what Kauai is like. The flying, and you had to really learn the weather out there, and you had to be ready for it to change in an instant, because you would go up a canyon and weather might move in real quick. A cloud would block you into that canyon for a little while, and you just have to kind of maneuver around safely with 5 or 6 other guys in that canyon trying to show this waterfall, and the communication and the Grand Canyon's kind of their routes that you have to follow to get in and out. But Hawaii, it was choose your own adventure, because the weather would tell you where you could and couldn't go. And it was amazing. The flying out there was phenomenal, and really, really, really pushed me there, and on Kauai and on Maui as well. Maui, was some crazy flying. There are 13 microclimates on Earth, and you've got, I think, 11 of the 13 on Maui, all in one place. They got some desert land, and they got snow, and they've got you go fly to the top of Haleakala. You go from sea level to 11,000 feet AGL. 11,000 feet for helicopter pilots. Most of us don't like the altitude. I don't like heights. Heights are garbage. You know what I mean? I could be
Absolutely.
at 400 feet in the back of a canyon with crazy turbulence, getting my butt whooped, be perfectly fine. But you put me at 11,000 feet AGL and go to my helicopter? No, not for me. That's why I don't fly fixed wing. It's not for me. But that experience out there, landing, we had a really cool landing out in lander spot out in the rainforest, that we would have to kind of come down into a hole in these albizia monkey pod trees and kind of scooch underneath of the tree to be able to get into your parking spot, to let the other helicopters land. Again, it really, really, really pushed me with that. And then all the crop dusting, which I use the crop dusting things on what not to do on any of my flights here in Hems.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. You might scare some of the med crew that way.
I scare myself when I done some of that stuff. You know what I mean? It's what's funny is a lot of the crop dusting I did was out in this area in Kentucky. There are fields that I fly over and I'll be like, I almost died on that field right there. Like there was a tree I almost hit on that one. There was a wire there.
And I'm sure your crew loves hearing that too.
They're like, oh,
Yeah. Oh, yeah. But I'll be like, I learned from that and I know how to apply it. And I think all of that is what finally I was like, yeah, I'm good. I'm good. I'm good to do this now. I can get in this and learn safety. But what I chose is when I went and interviewed those bases, what I really did was I went and interviewed, and I wanted to find a base that had some experience.
Yeah.
We are very, very, very fortunate at our base that we have multiple clinicians who have been here over 20 years.
That's awesome.
We have 3 paramedics who've been here for over 20 years. We've got 25 years on one of the guys out here. They all have their black wings, indicating they've been here for over 20 years. And combining my knowledge of flying the aircraft. And I stayed in the same aircraft. I have a background, like I said, 206, 407, all that, but I chose to stay in the 130 because now I've got over 10 years of experience in the 130. And it's less that I need to relearn,
Sure.
so learning a new job and a new aircraft or re-up on a new aircraft. I chose to stay in the 130. And so really got to lean on those guys and hey, there's a tree in this area. There's a wire in this area. The weather usually comes in this area. It usually hits this spot right here. We don't usually come in from this way. And they'll always say, we usually don't. But if you see something and they trust me to my flying skills, they'll always, rely on me for that and go with what you feel. But this is, it's very helpful. So chose this base kind of for that. And also because the crew is solid. Any group who've been there over 20 years, they're well seasoned. And it means that the culture there is really good.
Yeah, for sure.
And it's been true.
I think the term is parametasaur. I think that's 20 years. You hit that parametasaur.
Are you almost there, Blake?
You're this year,
This year,
2026.
Good for you.
Wow.
Yeah, I know.
That's awesome.
You can't tell at all. The face doesn't show it whatsoever. Crow's feet, wrinkles, loss of hair.
Here's the thing. For me, crow's feet come from smiling.
Mine are crying.
Okay.
Mine are crying. I'm just kidding.
Yeah, it's not tears of joy.
Yeah. Oh man.
But yeah, going back to that, the crew resource management portion of it, all of that combines to the confidence I have in both me and my crew. It multiplies, right? Me alone, I would decline a solo flight somewhere because of there's obstructions maybe in the area, but with a crew that I can trust on, who has the experience of looking out, and my crew on NVGs are phenomenal. My crew on LZs, on offsite stuff are phenomenal. And they know how to speak the lingo. They know what I'm looking for. They know how to communicate, and they know what we're looking for to stay safe. And it really, 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 really means a lot to me how experienced those guys are. So for me, coming from that background where I felt like I have the skills needed, both aircraft experience and my ability to fly, my weather background, my decision-making, and overall experiences combined with their experience, I was like, we're good. We're going to do this. And I've leaned on them, and they have taught me a ton. And it's been a phenomenal partnership with this base, and they are a phenomenal med crew. I mean, all of them.
It's awesome when you can find that kind of culture, and you just feel like at home, like that's your place. That's where you're supposed to be. And I think, when we talk about your story specifically, like where you ended up is almost fortuitous in some regards, right? And I kind of want to get into that a little bit, if you don't mind, and talk to us a little bit about your story as to what one of your first interactions with Hamms was when you were 19. Is that correct?
Thank you to our sponsor, Precision Aviation Group. Mission-critical operators and fleet managers rely on Precision Aviation Group as a worldwide leading rotor and fixed-wing MRO provider. PAG provides tip-to-tail solutions in 4 MRO segments: avionics, components, engines, and manufacturing DER services. A single point of contact gives you access to over 150 million in inventory globally, 24/7. Just call 800-537-2778. Precision Aviation Group. Others sell parts. We sell support.
Yeah, it was 19. So every year, my church would come down to Hazard, Kentucky, and we would do VBSs. We would do camp out there. And I'd come down every summer and hang out there. And I grew up in Montana, and where we were on every type of motor vehicle you could growing up. And they had a 4-wheeler down there. So I, being the ham that I am, got on the 4-wheeler. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And
like you do.
Multiple days. Yeah. Like, who wouldn't?
Right, exactly. I 100% would.
Yeah. And unfortunately fell off a 17-foot bridge.
Oh my God.
Oof.
Yeah. And I don't remember exactly how it happened. My friends who kind of saw it happen said I was going down the road and I was side slipping back and forth, fishtailing, because why not? And I hit some pavement and went up on 2 wheels, and which is really no problem. If you got experience, all you do is you turn your wheels into it and it drops you back
And
down.
pulls it, yeah.
Exactly. The problem was I had to make the corner by the bridge to make the corner. Otherwise, we're going to hit a wall. And I made the turn, but then I slipped off the side. Oof. And my friends said I yelled, "Oh crap," as I went off the bridge, but it wasn't like, "Oh crap." She said it was like, I knew I messed up, like, "Oh crap." And then off I went, which my buddy says that even through the tragedy of it, he says, I still found a way of making him chuckle. When they look back on that,
you're like, that was entirely the point.
Yeah.
A chuckle out of it.
Yeah. I mean, whether with or at, we're going to be laughing with me or at me. And, fell off. And again, my background of riding, I don't know why I didn't bail, but I guess I held on to the handlebars. It pulled me over. I fell, the four-wheeler went straight down. I fell onto the handlebars and gave me, as you guys kind of know in the industry, is like a seatbelt fracture. And it was a burst fracture of the L2 within a dislocation of those vertebrae, both on top and the bottom. So my L2 burst completely, shattered. And then my 2 vertebrae on top collapsed down and off center like an S. My spinal cord was an S. I fell forward. I hit a big rock with my face, gave me a tripod fracture. It looked like someone stepped on my face. This was all concave. And then the back end of the four-wheeler came over the top, caught the back of my head, crushed my head into that rock, gave me a double basal skull fracture. Now, Dale Earnhardt died of a single basal skull fracture. And speaking of humility, I had 2. And so I ripped off my eyelid, split my lip all the way in half, and ripped off my ear.
Wow.
And yeah, it's pretty messed up with that. So that's kind of the accident portion that happened. And my best friends were the ones who pulled me out of that creek. It was probably like 3 to 6 inches of water, and it was a very steep terrain to get me up and out of there. And they properly supported me and got me up. They tried to call 911. I don't remember if they couldn't get cell service or something. We're talking about the hollers of Kentucky where there's little to no cell service, or if there were no ambulances available. I can't remember what it was, but they couldn't. So they threw me in the church van and started driving me to the hospital.
Wow.
And so yeah, that's kind of that's the accident portion of it. They actually saw an ambulance sitting, I think they're at a gas station, probably, doing what med crews and ambulances do, which is not much, apparently. I'm kidding. I'm really kidding. I'm kidding.
You're going to get some hate mail for that one.
I know. Some of our paramedics also part-time at our local paramedics, our first responder crews and whatnot. And we hang out with them quite a bit, them and the fire crews. And it's crazy. Like the amount of calls that just come in. We were hanging out there at their firehouse or at their ambulance base, and just like call after call after call. And you think we're the ones who are like, right, what, you're calling us for that? They get all of those calls. You know what I mean? Possible fall. And you're just like, hey, more power to them. And they got to be ready to handle it.
Yep. They're going all shift long, every shift.
Yeah. Especially when someone pulls up in a church van with with this.
Exactly. Yeah, they pull up. This guy, he fell off a bridge.
You're like halfway into your hot dog and soda, because you're on standby, and you're just like, oh, what do they want?
Yeah,
what does this person want?
Yeah, I'm bleeding out my ears and my nose and my eyes are bleeding. You know what I mean?
You see that in the back, and you're like,
yeah, So I guess I had a collapsed lung. So yeah, they took me to hospital there in Hazard. And if, before getting into this industry, I didn't really have a full understanding of why they couldn't take care of me. Like, why do we have to take these patients somewhere else? It's a hospital. Yeah, right. We're at a hospital. Like, why can't they take care of me? And then on this end of it, it's crazy being from that side of it to the other side where it's just like, they definitely can't. Yeah. Yeah, it's one of the good and bad things about living in rural areas is it's rural, but at the same time, it's rural. You know, and you don't have the facilities that you need to be able to take care of stuff like that. So they got me there, and the ER was like, we can only do so much, but they gave a call out. And I guess from what I understood, there was a huge accident on 75 or somewhere where a bunch of the helicopters were already out on scenes.
So you picked the wrong day.
They couldn't.
Happen to you.
Yeah.
Of course.
I mean, that's how it happens, and you'll get that call. Hey, can you accept a flight? And be like, I'm already heading to a flight. I can't take it. And, but somehow, I think it was Kentucky 1 at the time, ended up getting the call, and they came and they rescued me. They flew down there and picked me up, and they took me, from there up to Lexington, UK, where then they proceeded to work on me hardcore. They actually called my parents and told them not to come down, that I would probably die before I got there. My heart stopped 3 times, twice in the ER, once in the OR. And they didn't know this, but I had shattered all of my sinuses and was bleeding into my stomach. So it was kind of keeping my pressure up until I threw up a ton of blood, and then I crashed. And then they realized, they started cranking tons of blood in me, to keep me going. And then from there, once they finally got me stabilized, they got me into surgery, where then I crashed again during the surgery, and they had to stop. They put it in a basket to right at my L2, and then put in a 6-inch plate with 4 2.5-inch screws. And then that's all they could get into, before I crashed, and they had to, sew me up. So.
Wow. It's just such an incredible story. I can only imagine, obviously you were not with it for a lot of that process, and thankfully so, right? Like who wants to have that recollection? I'm sure that was a lot for your friends and family to end up going through. And then the aftermath of the recovery process for all of you had to be absolutely insane.
Well, it was, again, very interesting that I, stayed in the ICU room, which back then in the old, it was a room with the beds all around kind of in a circle, and you'd be on the outside of it. And the new buildings they have at UK are just, they're so beautiful, and the nice rooms and whatnot. But, it was what they had back then. But I was kind of in and out of a coma for 3 days, in and out. And I remember waking up mentally. Now, I guess I was talking the entire time. And I've seen this with my own patients, where they will ask the same questions over and over again. They are conscious, but they're not really conscious. You know what I mean? And I just remember that moment when I truly woke up, and I had asked my mom, I was like, "Hey mom, what happened?" And she told me again. Obviously I'd asked that question so many times, but I remember that time, it was my first wake. It was about 3 days later. And, from there was in the ICU for quite a while, until they finally felt like I was ready to go move to a long-term facility to go do my, rehab up. So they shipped me back up to Illinois, where I was living at the time, and stayed at a rehab facility called Van Mater in Rockford, Illinois. Phenomenal. We actually have a base in Rockford. Go Rockford. And so I was there. And when I got there, the interesting thing was, first of all, they put me in the lockdown ward, and in a locked room with bars and everything. And I was
after
really
knowing you for an hour or two.
Okay.
That tracks.
I can kind of understand where they're coming from.
Yeah. Well, and part of it was, is as you guys know, and I've learned a lot more of head trauma can cause some serious cognizant issues, and behavioral issues that you don't even know about. And so they weren't sure what I was coming in with, because of, I might have traumatic brain injuries and stuff like that. Yeah. And so I'm in this lockdown where I'm really confused on why I was here. And then they were doing assessment tests on me, and again, as I said at the beginning, I am not a fart smeller. And, and so was not doing great on these tests, because I've never tested well. I've never standardized tests are not great. I do not do the good on the tests. and so I was, all of a sudden I'm taking the middle of this test. I can't remember what it was, but I remember thinking, like, I have brain damage. Like, how would you know if you have brain damage? If you're brain damaged, would you be cognitive to know that you have deficits? And if I thought maybe they're just being nice to me, you know what I mean? Like, oh yeah, you're doing so good, but how would you know? Like, obviously this test, I'm doing terrible on this test.
I mean, hopefully if you have the cognitive ability to have that thought process, that you've got something going for you.
Maybe you don't know. You don't know. Have you ever had brain damage? I don't know.
I mean, probably at some point in my life.
It's debatable.
Exactly. So I remember just crying, and the doctor being like, "You're fine. You're fine." Like, oh my God, get him out of there. So they moved me out of there pretty quick, which is nice.
Get this guy out of here.
Yeah. Kind of then after that, we met together and we went over our goals. It was kind of like, these are your goals to move forward. And this is to get out of the hospital. These are things you want. And the goal is to learn to live life in a wheelchair.
Thanks for joining us for this episode of the Valor Flight Crew podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe to hear more stories that promote the personnel and equipment behind the missions in public safety aviation. Lastly, stand by for a message from our sponsors.
Thank you to our sponsor, Precision Aviation Group. Mission-critical operators and fleet managers rely on Precision Aviation Group as a worldwide leading rotor and fixed-wing MRO provider. PAG provides tip-to-tail solutions in 4 MRO segments: avionics, components, engines, and manufacturing DER services. A single point of contact gives you access to over 150 million in inventory globally, 24/7. Just call 800-537-2778. Precision Aviation Group. Others sell parts. We sell support. Thanks to our sponsor, Airbus. Airbus provides the most efficient helicopter solutions to its customers who serve, protect, save lives, and safely carry passengers in demanding environments. Its civil and military helicopters are flying all over the world, making missions possible. Visit airbus.com for more information.
Thank you to our sponsor, Metro Aviation. Metro Aviation, the world's largest family-owned aeromedical operator, offers comprehensive aircraft services with 140-plus aircraft in over 25 states. The Completion Center installs medical and law enforcement kits and avionics, serving diverse aviation needs including offshore, utility, VIP, and corporate sectors.
As we wrap up today's episode, we want to thank Aaron Hamm for sharing his journey, his honesty, and the perspective that only comes from truly understanding this profession from every angle. Stories like Aaron's remind us that aviation and medicine are about far more than checklists and procedures. They're about people, teamwork, and showing up for one another when it matters most. Whether you're in the cockpit, in the back of the aircraft, or supporting the mission from the ground, the impact you make is real and lasting. If today's conversation resonated with you, share it with your teammates, build that base camaraderie, and keep that safety voice strong. Progress happens when we learn from each other and continue to grow together. Until next time, fly safe, take care of each other, and never lose sight of your why.